Well, we talk about the highs and lows of college athletics, sports. Even though it doesn't matter, yesterday I guess was a day when everybody looked at our program, and I thought the same thing as some people, where I couldn't believe Magic's team wasn't ranked one. I did know we hadn't been ranked one. I just figured somebody had been. And so at 2 o'clock I got the word that we were the first Michigan State program. We were ranked, I think, second 4 times in the last 9 years, but to be ranked one. And at 7 o'clock last night, I had the hardest part of my job. I had to sit down with Josh Langford and the doctors and find out that he has resurfaced the problem in his foot, and he will be reevaluated in January, but he's going to be out. And the kid has been the most selfless, greatest attitude, committed kid. He's didn't miss a practice last year, didn't miss a trip. Setback has been for the last 2 seasons, and to be honest with you, it's one of those weird things that breaks my heart. Thank God he has strong beliefs, his faith, and while I know he's very, very, very disappointed, he still believes everything happens for a reason. I love Josh Langford. He's one of those guys that has given me everything on the court, off the court, in the classroom. Like almost nobody I've had. He's handled everything a lot better than I would have handled it. And now my job is to support him in every way I can, including the hours. Last night, don't have a ton of information. It's still in his ankle, and it's a little spot that just, I don't know if it's the stress of the first one that makes it react a little differently, but I don't see this as anything that is going to change his life in any way later on, but right now, it's going to set him back, and we're going to reevaluate everything in January and see where he is, see where we are. But it is a big loss after a tremendous high at 2 o'clock practice and kind of a tremendous low at 7 o'clock. And so I didn't want to start the press conference out that way, but I haven't really hit injuries as much as I know. I try to tell you the truth. And I would hope and pray that every Michigan State supporter, and even the ones that aren't, this is nothing life-threatening. It's just something that a kid who's dedicated his life. I stick by my 3L rules. Some people like it, some people love it, some people live it. And he was a live it guy. He lived every minute of the day was basketball related, along with keeping a very religious balance, a very academic balance, and a very social balance. And so last night was one of those moments that you sit with somebody and you get some news, and please forgive me that it's not news like some people, maybe some of you have had, or some of us will have. But in that case, it was tough news, and then to spend a couple hours, it brings a reality to your job. Once in a while, maybe that's what he meant, but it all happens for a reason, Coach, because once in a while, this is an unrealistic business that I'm in. It humanized it, and I hope everybody that is a Josh Langford fan says a little prayer for his quick recovery. And I guess I'll answer questions about that when I'm done. I'll talk a little bit about our team, that we've had some injuries. We did play that secret scrimmage, and I didn't think played great. It was great competition. Gonzaga was good. We went into it with Rocket Watts really probably not playing. He played a little bit. He hurt his Achilles a little bit, just a strain, back practicing last night. Unfortunately, Kyle Arms, Josh's backup, sprained his ankle in that, and he'll be out at least a week. So it was a scrimmage, and we played a lot of people, and got out of it what we wanted to get out of it. And I think they got out of it what they wanted to get out of it. So that was a good experience for us. And now it's, get ready. In 2 weeks from tonight we play. Kind of a interesting opener. Great opener, to be honest with you. Great for us, great for college basketball. And this weekend we have Midnight Madness on Friday, which I think they put a lot of work into, so I'm excited about that for our players, and for our families, and for our students, and for our fans, since a lot of people don't get to see games. So, not to be the Debbie Downer, but any questions that I can answer, I'll answer best I can.
So you've obviously dealt with foot injuries with a guy like Russell Bird and other guys throughout the past, and I'm just wondering the lessons of how delicate a foot can be for a basketball player getting back. And then last year, the fact that he played maybe 11 games, is on the fringe of maybe a redshirt for last year. Does that give you some flexibility if he wants to come back? If he's able to come back for part of this year and still needs another year or wants another year and things like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I just assumed, but assuming anything lately, and with the NCAA and everything, is not a good idea. I assumed last year, since he was so close, that you would get a redshirt year. As far as this year goes, those are questions we'll have to answer, and see what Josh wants to do, whether it's time. I mean, Josh is on draft boards. I mean, it's, what I want for Josh is what's best for Josh. This is one time the team, the program, he's given me more than 4 years worth of sacrificing. So we will be checking all those things out. I got to admit this morning that it's been a little bit of a blur. I guess kind of a surprise. And we just thought the thing was so, he's done everything. We kept him out an extra month or two. He's done everything. That kid did everything. His weight changed not a gram. His body fat not a bit. He got stronger. He shot in a chair for 2 months. Make sure he didn't change his shot. This kid did it all, and it just wasn't meant to be for right now. So we'll be answering those questions as we talk to the NCAA, talk to Josh. I think his family's coming up this weekend, and we're going to sit down, and a lot of unknowns on it. But when I say it happened last night, it happened last night. So that's where we got the official word.
I know it's probably kind of hard to figure that right now, which way to go with it, but especially with Kyle and his situation and managing all of that, do you look at Rocket there? Do you try and move Aaron out there? Or is it just too early to kind of tell that?
Again, don't apologize. These are all good questions. It's part of the things you don't sleep at night right now, because it was just 3 weeks ago we said, well, we have Cassius, Josh, and Aaron, very solid 3 guys, and their backups were Foster, Gabe, and Kyle, and then Rocket working into a bunch of different positions, and now we're trying to figure out who would start and who would best come off the bench. And, that's what the next week will be for. But, right now we still have 3 very, very good players in Cassius, Aaron, and Xavier. And we still have some question marks on who'll play the 4, Bingham, Kithier, Hall. And now we have a question mark of who'll play the 2, whether it will be a Rocket Watts, whether Kyle will be back in time, whether we move Aaron to the 2 and Gabe to the 3. Those positions are interchangeable for us. But I promise you I'll give you that answer as soon as I got it. There'll be nothing hidden with that.
Tom, I think most of us know that what kind of guy Josh is like, that he'll tell you how he's going to handle it better than most of us. But how did his teammates react when they found out this was happening?
The sad thing is, whether you believe this or not, I put the media in front of his teammates, sort of. The timing of everything, a couple guys know I called a couple guys, but they'll all find out at practice. The only reason I did that is, Matt and Max and us, we just, I didn't want anything to get out and let people put their own spin on it. The problem is there's nothing bad about the spin, so I was just going to be honest with you. A couple guys like, Cassius and Xavier were, shocked. I mean, again, I look at things when I talk about these things, and I think of people in hospitals and people going through things, and I feel kind of sheepish to say that I cried last night with them, but I did, because for us, this is the most important thing in the world, until you get slapped in the face with something that's more important. So teammates are going to find out at practice. He hasn't been practicing for a couple of weeks. Not going to change the practice. It'll probably change. He's loved by those guys. I use that word because he is, and the staff is. You miss a guy that's kind of a generational guy. And I say that only because you said it very well, Matt, that you guys know him, you know what kind of kid he is, you know he answers questions, you know what kind of student he is, you know how he lives his life off the court. That's the one advantage of getting to do stories on kids or getting closer to our kids. The disadvantage is when they happen. As he said to me today, he goes, I guess I'm human, huh, Coach? And that's a hell of a line, that, as I said, I cry, I bleed, they cry, they bleed, they have accidents, they have things that happen that sometimes don't make sense, but especially for a kid who's put in so much time and effort and done it all the right way. I mean, he had that boot on forever because they just thought it would be better, and it was, and everything was going smooth, and it just happened, so they'll find out today.
You challenge your players to leave footprints, but to be the first program to start out at #1, Tom, is a footprint really for you. Are you able to reflect on that, or is Josh overshadowing it right now?
I reflected on it from 2 o'clock till 3 o'clock, and then got into practice, and then got summoned to my office to talk to our doctors and everything, and talk to the specialists in Green Bay, Dr. Anderson, all the people that, so last night was consumed with his family, people on the phone and doctors. I haven't had a lot of time to think about it. I guess I'm proud that, as I told my players, when you look up at a banner, it hangs there forever, and somebody will tell you someday that, hey, you know what, I played on that team in 2005, that banner hanging, you tell your kids, and you do this and that, and And that's what college is about, the memories and the accomplishments. And it means nothing maybe at Duke or Kentucky or Carolina, but at Michigan State to do something that there's not many things that we get to do that even Magic didn't get to do. And so, unfortunately, it's a number. I guess, really unfortunately, you guys pick it. But I know it means nothing. People know it means nothing. Ironically, the last time we were 2, I think Kentucky was 1, and we played in the opening game. And we hope to, do the same thing. But I haven't had a chance to really look at the big picture. I probably will when I'm either retired or dead anyway. I probably won't do it next week, next month, or next year. Those are something that you have in a scrapbook, and when it's all done, and you don't have a retirement dinner, because I won't have that either, but when I sit down and look back, it'll just be one more thing that we got to do to put Michigan State University out in front and say, hey, that's something, a stat that people take. And I told this team, you're the team that has accomplished that. And that's, the program didn't accomplish that when the team did. It benefits the program. And that's all we're going to do.
A week ago, you were pretty encouraged that you may know something on Joey by the end of the week. Clearly, the NCAA, once again, didn't live up to expectations, but do you have any other time frame?
Well, I told you we got one back and we resubmitted, and we're resubmitting, and we're trying to get more and more information. We're trying to gather more and more information, because there's been 3, 4 more that just came out, and so we're trying to constantly gather. I've also been told that everything is different, and so you can't compare one to the other, so you try to find as many that are really comparable to this situation. And Jennifer Smith, our compliance person, has done an unbelievable job of trying to gather all that. Her group, my staff has tried to, but as of right now, Joey did not make the trip, because you're not allowed to make the trip if you are a transfer that does not have a waiver. So he did not plan that, did not make the trip. And it'll be soon, but it hasn't been like they didn't reject it once, because they did. So, and it's common to reappeal, and we reappeal.
Now, you dealt with an injury a week or 2 before the season before. I'm wondering how you can kind of help guys make those adjustments, whether it's a new role, whether it's kind of a mindset not having Josh out there, and make sure they're ready to go for that opener.
Yeah, when Mateen was a senior, he broke that foot and missed 3 months, and came back and led us to a national championship. I've had situations where guys were injured. I told my staff today that I sort of hope that most Michigan State people forgive me, but I am a Patriots fan. I am a Tom Brady fan. And I'm a fan of that because I respect the person, not maybe the team he plays for, or not maybe the school he went to. But I do respect the person and how he handles adversity and how he deals with things. And I looked at Cassius and I kind of said, you look at Tom Brady and he's got a maniac for a coach. You've got that. He's got players that seem to be everybody's misfits. He finally gets a superstar, he keeps him for a week and he's gone. They get guys that are traded, they get guys, but the one constant is Brady and Belichick. So I hate to tell you, Cassius, you're saddled with me. And it's going to be me and you that have to find a way to rally this team and not worry about who's not there, but worry about who is there and appreciate who's not there. And Josh Langford, whether he plays another minute in January or February or always be part of our team because he stood for everything I believe in about college sports. And when you are injured like he was and didn't miss a practice or a game, I told him last night, it's okay to miss a practice here and there. I don't know if I'd have been able to do what he did. And it might seem mundane to you. If there's something you love and you have to watch it and you don't get to be a part of it, that's a very difficult thing to do if you have passion for what you're doing. So, you know, we're just going to try to move forward. Today's not the easiest day, and maybe it's good. Maybe it's good that Matt and Max thought it would be the right time to do it because this is how I feel. It's real. It's not the Kardashians, but it's real life. You know, this is the way it works. I'm for TV, just for me and you. And I don't know how I'm going to feel tonight. I don't know how I'm going to feel tomorrow. But I am going to feel this way. I've got a bunch of guys left that are very good players. I've got 3 guys left that have kind of led us to the promised land last year with some role players, some very good role players. And we're going to circle the wagons around those people and not change any of our goals, any of our dreams, any of our expectation, but realize that he was the one guy that started since his freshman year. You know, Cassius didn't. Xavier didn't. He started just about every game he's been here, except when he was hurt a little bit. We brought him off the bench. So it's a loss for us. It's a loss for us on the court. It's a loss for us in the classroom. It's a loss for us in the locker room. And, you know, everybody else has to deal with it. We're going to deal with it just fine once I get through maybe the next day or 2.
I don't know how much you kind of want to talk about the scrimmage on Saturday, but I'm just wondering, since we can't see it, how indicative did you feel like that final score was, or how you played?
Yeah, we played like 3 different quarters, and I think, or halves. I think the first half, we probably lost it by 5 or 7. It was kind of a 3-point game with 19 seconds left. And, you know, what we tried to do is play a lot of people. Mark did not have a lot of people to play. So he played mostly 7 people for the whole scrimmage. And, you know, we took timeouts, we took half times. The second half, we played more people. Arnie got hurt, didn't play much, and Rocket didn't play much. And it was probably an 8-point game. So I guess if you looked at it that way, you wanted to take 2 halves. We got beat by 12 or 14 points. But number 1, I thought Gonzaga was very good. Number 2, I don't think I think the most minutes we played anybody was 26, maybe Tillman and Cassius. So it was very positive for us. I was disappointed a little bit on how our best players played, not how our subs played. But at the same time, we've been practicing very well, so I'm comfortable where we are. I just think we've got to keep improving, and we got to get some young guys ready to play now. You know, a lot of young guys, whether it be Rocket, whether it be Malik Hall, whether it be Julius. We got to get some young guys ready to play, and then those sophomores like Langham and Brown, we're going to have to step up a few notches and Foster Lawyer, which I think they all can.
Anything else?
Geez, I've never seen a group afraid to ask questions. I guess some of that I should appreciate because I think you're probably a little stunned too, but it's an injury. You know, everybody goes through injuries, everybody has them, and I'll just leave it as, I don't know, as practice or, yeah.
One more second. Tom, I just want to clarify, I guess, is this a similar injury with Josh or the same injury? And did it occur last night or was it sort of a...
No. He hasn't practiced.
Okay.
It was, you know, we've had him out for a couple of weeks, as some of you that were by know. We were doing x-rays and MRIs and things seemed to be okay. And whatever one they did, that we sent to the specialist, Dr. Anderson, who does a lot of NBA and NFL guys, and we've seen a hot spot kind of in an area, and it's on the same foot, and yet it's a foot injury. I guess I don't know everything yet. Maybe by the time I think you guys have come to practice, our trainers will know, our doctors will know more. I just know what we're in for right now is a couple months of not taking any chances or not doing anything to hurt his future. And yet we're not just keeping him out to make sure he's healthy. I mean, he needs to be out, he will be out, and hopefully, we'll get him back sometime. That'll be reevaluated, though. It's going to be a couple months for sure before it'll be reevaluated.
Is there any categorizing what kind of injury it is, Tom? Is it
It's a midfoot.
stress, is it a stress fracture, is it a tendon, is it?
Oh,
Stress
stress
fracture.
reaction. It's not a fracture, it's a stress reaction.
Stress reaction.
But it's in the midfoot, which is not the Jones, which is down, but it's just in an area where it doesn't get as much blood. And that's why all foot injuries are a problem. But I unfortunately, I can't answer much on the medical part. I can definitely get information for you. What I got last night, when you sit in a room, as maybe some people have on different things that, you go through in life, once we got the word that he's going to be out, kind of everything else was a semi-blur. And that's where we're at right now. Nothing else? Well, I think, are we open today or no?
Yep. Yeah, we are.
Yeah, so we're open today. Maybe, Josh went out. We had other guys that went out. Nick went out. We had injuries. We refocused. We reassessed. We did things, and we found a way to be one of 4 teams standing. And sure, a lot of hype was on what we had coming back. We didn't know where Josh would be at that point anyway. So there's not a lot of doom and gloom. There's a feeling bad. Understand the difference. There's a sadness for me for a kid. There's not a sadness for me for my program. It's for the kid. And when we practice today, it's going to be back to dog eat dog. Okay? And if there's one thing everybody says, does your team get fat and sassy? Do you get satisfied with where you are? Well, if the chip wasn't on the shoulder, the chip is back on the shoulder. Maybe that's what Josh meant when he said there's a reason for everything. And so I'm just a little bit, I don't know what to say to you. I don't know how to say it, because I'm thinking of him right now. But I promise you, this isn't going to change any of our goals. Nobody should feel bad. Other people have injuries. Other people lose players. We're going to be. We're looking forward to 2 weeks from tonight. And after I get through today, I'll look forward to it even better. So I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys tonight.